On the 23rd of March, the Australian Senate had a chance to investigate billions of dollars of NDIS fraud, and they voted no. And you know what? Fine. Since 34 senators decided this wasn't worth their time, I'll do it for them. I'm going to show you exactly how your tax dollars are being stolen, how people who cannot protect themselves are being systematically exploited, and why, despite billions of dollars being allegedly missing, no one goes to prison. Plus what you can do about it right now. Now, before we go anywhere, I want to say something very clearly. This is not a political video. I'm not here to defend one nation. Pauline Hanson has certainly never needed my help, and I'm not here to attack Labor for the sake of it. What I am here to do is answer the question that nobody covering this story is actually qualified to answer, because I've been inside the machinery. And if you think this is just about people rorting invoices, you're missing how this actually works. So what law was broken, and why is almost no one going to prison for it? Well, here's what we actually know. $52 billion flows through the NDIS every year. The government's own projections put that at about $100 billion by 2030. And as of this month, there have been 23 successful criminal convictions. Not 23 this year, 23 total, for a scheme that investigators and the Senate Hansard on the record have described as organised industrial scale fraud. So that's the question. Let's answer it. So what is actually happening out there? Because I think if you just say NDIS fraud, people imagine someone rorting a form, a small provider inflating hours, that kind of thing. And yeah, that does happen, but it's not the full picture. Let me give you the conduct, the actual things people are doing. First, billing for services that were never delivered. Someone is in hospital or dead. Someone has no idea that their plan's been accessed, and an invoice goes in anyway. That's not a grey area. That's the kind of conduct that is easily charged as fraud. Second, inflating the scope of what was delivered. The support worker was there for 40 minutes and the invoice says 90. The plan says the participant needs occupational therapy, the provider bills for it, and sends them someone with no qualifications. Again, this is a spectrum. At one end, it's bad administration. At the other, it's a deliberate billing scheme. Third, and this is where it gets genuinely organised, layering claims through corporate structures. Think about how this works. You don't commit the fraud directly, you set up a holding company. And that company contracts a provider entity, and that provider entity submits claims. The money flows to a separate trust. By the time investigators start following it, the individual at the top has placed several corporate layers between themselves and the criminal act. That isn't amateur hour, that's structure. And you don't build that structure by accident. Not all of this is federal. Some conduct falls under Commonwealth fraud provisions in the Criminal Code Act, some of it's state-based theft, and some of it is a regulatory breach under the NDIS Act itself. And the short version, depending on what you did, how you did it, and who you did it to, you could be looking at serious indictable offences with penalties up to 10 years prison, or you could be looking at deregistration and a civil penalty, a fine. The law has range. What it doesn't always have is the capacity to deploy it. But this is the part no one is talking about, and it's the part that matters most. Everyone wants to know why NDIS fraudsters aren't going to prison. And the answer is not satisfying. It's not a single villain, it's a system. This is where most commentary completely falls apart. Let me ask you something. What does a prosecutor actually need to prove fraud? Well, they need to prove dishonest intent, that the person knew what they were doing was wrong, that it wasn't an error, that it wasn't a systems failure, but that it was deliberate, and it was a conscious decision to deceive. And in the NDIS context, that is genuinely difficult. A provider can say, well, we believe the service was being delivered. They can say our record-keeping system failed. They can say we reasonably believed this was within the scope of the participant's plan. Now, it doesn't make them right, but it means the AFP have to prove they're lying. I've prosecuted cases, I've defended cases. The evidentiary burden for proving criminal intent in complex billing schemes is not trivial. It's one of the most technically demanding prosecutions that the Commonwealth can undertake. Now, the second problem is resources. The AFP is one of the most demanding mandates of any police agency in the world. Counterterrorism, organised crime, child exploitation material, foreign interference, cybercrime. NDIS fraud is just not at the top of that list. The NDIS Fraud Task Force, a joint body across the AFP, the NDIA, and state police, is doing genuine work. The $86 million in suspicious claims that they blocked before payment is significant. That tells us the system can identify fraud in real time. But blocking a payment is not the same as putting someone in prison. Not remotely. Now, the third problem, and this is the one that concerns me most as a lawyer, corporate structures. The most sophisticated NDIS fraud is not being committed by support workers with falsified timesheets. It's being run through layered corporate entities. These are not opportunistic fraudsters. They understand how corporate structures create legal distance. They've thought it through. By the time investigators start following the money, the individuals at the top have placed considerable legal distance between themselves and the criminal act. And this is why criminal gangs are involved. Our current investigative and prosecutorial framework was not specifically designed for that when it came to the NDIS. I mean, it should have been, but it just wasn't. So when a prosecution does succeed, what made it work? Let's look at the 18th of March. The government announced the 23rd successful conviction for crimes committed against the NDIS. 23rd. From a scheme managing $52 billion a year. What do these successful cases have in common? Well, they're simple. They're documentable, and the gap between what was claimed and what was delivered is unambiguous. It's clear. One support worker and 90 participants. False claims submitted using their personal details. That's not a complex billing dispute. That's an identity fraud layered with Commonwealth fraud. The evidence is the invoice and the participant. One provider, $296,000. Clients with limited English proficiency. Services never delivered. The evidence is the service agreement, the invoice, and the participant's testimony that no one ever showed up. These cases succeed because the prosecution can stand in court, put the document on the screen, and say, this was the service billed for the date, this was the participant, and this participant was in hospital on that date. That's an easy case. What doesn't get prosecuted is the grey zone, where a service was technically delivered, but inadequately, where a provider billed for 60 minutes and delivered 40, where support workers were physically present but delivered nothing of value, where plans were inflated to include services that were marginal, unnecessary, or fictional. That's not because it's legal, it's because it falls into the space between administrative failure and provable criminal intent. And that is how the most sophisticated operators know exactly where to straddle the line. Now, if you are an NDIS participant, or you have a family member who is, and you believe fraud has occurred against your plan, forget the headlines. If this is happening to you, this is what actually matters. Step 1, report to the NDIA directly. There's a dedicated fraud reporting and scams helpline. I've put the number in the description below. They can investigate and block further payments and refer matters to the AFP. Step 2, contact the NDIS Quality and Safeguards Commission. This is a separate oversight body, so these guys handle complaints about registered providers, and they have the power to deregister, impose conditions, and refer matters for criminal prosecution. Step 3, and this is the one most people miss, document everything. Your service agreements, every invoice you've ever received, progress notes, any communications with your provider, text messages, emails. If you have any reason to believe something is wrong, start keeping records now, today. Because if this matter proceeds to a criminal investigation and later to a prosecution, the quality of your personal documentation is often the difference between a conviction and no further action. Can you sue your provider directly? In some cases, yes. Civil recovery is available. If a provider has misappropriated funds from your plan, you may have a claim in contract, potentially in tort, and potentially under specific NDIS legislative provisions. But it's not a simple process, and I want to be honest with you, it's not always worth pursuing for smaller amounts. But if you're talking about thousands of dollars or more, and your provider is still operating, then it's worth having a conversation with a lawyer about it. And if you believe it's significant, organized, networked, or running into serious money, don't go to your local police station, don't go to Crime Stoppers, contact the AFP directly. NDIS is the Commonwealth jurisdiction. Local police, for example state police, may not be able to investigate it, but the AFP can. Now, the part the Senate apparently didn't want to hear. If you actually wanted to fix this, you do 4 things. First, a permanent, dedicated NDIS prosecution unit within the AFP. Not a task force, not a working group, a standing unit with financial investigators, digital forensic specialists, and Commonwealth prosecutors who know the NDIS Act the way a fraud detective knows the Crimes Act. Right now, NDIS fraud competes for AFP attention with terrorism. That competition will always produce the same result. Second, administrative banning before criminal conviction. Currently, a provider can continue operating while a criminal investigation is running. And criminal investigations can take years. In the meantime, vulnerable participants remain at risk from the same operator. Now, a lower evidentiary threshold for an administrative removal from the provider register, not criminal conviction, just removal, would take the most dangerous operators out of the system quickly, while prosecution, the criminal element, proceeds at its own pace. Third, mandatory real-time claims auditing. The NDIA already blocks $86 million in suspicious claims. That tells us the system can catch it, scale it, potentially automate it, although that has not worked particularly well in the past. Make irregular billing patterns trigger immediate human revision, not a 6-month investigation. And fourth, the one that will be politically uncomfortable, but legally correct. We need to treat organised NDIS fraud as organised crime. Because in most cases it is. The Senate's own motion referenced criminal gangs with $50 million in fraud attempts. That is not opportunistic theft by individuals exploiting a loophole. That is organised, premeditated exploitation of a Commonwealth scheme. And the legislative tools to treat it already exist. The Proceeds of Crime Act, asset confiscation, criminal network provisions, these are not exotic legal instruments. They are already in use against drug trafficking and financial crime. The political will to apply them to NDIS fraud, apparently, doesn't exist yet. So on the 23rd of March, 34 senators decided that Australia doesn't want or need a formal inquiry into how this is happening. I'll leave the politics of that to people who do politics. But what I can tell you from where I've sat in court on both sides of prosecutions is that the legal tools to address this exist. The Criminal Code, the AFP Task Force, the NDIA's own real-time detection systems. The gap is not in the law. The law is there. It always has been. The question, and it's an uncomfortable one, is whether we, as a country, will decide to use it. If you or someone you know has been affected by this, the NDIA Fraud Helpline and the Quality and Safeguards Commission are in the description. Use them. If you want to understand how law and power actually operates in this country, not the version you were taught, but the version that actually runs, that's what this channel is for. Subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.